When you go to a barbershop, there's so many different haircuts to choose from. It could be a little overwhelming, especially if you don't know the difference between an undercut or a high fade, or a pompadour or a quiff. And nothing feels worse or as intimidating as telling a barber what you want, but you don't know what it's called.
Or what you want.
Yeah, let me get it. Well, don't worry. We're gonna learn all about how to ask for the cut you want and what cuts are allowed in the Air Force. Now, the Air Force makes it really easy for you all when you get your first 2 haircuts in the Air Force.
Any moles, rewards anywhere?
When you go to basic training, they're gonna give you that basic training special. You ain't even gotta ask, you ain't gotta know what it's called. Now, basic training is 7.5 weeks, so you gotta get another haircut between the first one and basic training graduation. So when you go to graduate, they're gonna give you that nice high and tight. But after you graduate, you gotta figure out what style you're gonna keep on your head and also if it's within regulations. So for males, it says the men must have a tapered appearance on both sides of the head and on the back of the head. And you should be able to see that with or without headgear. It also says the hair will not exceed 2.5 inches in bulk. So that's like that much. You get a lot going on as far as bulk up there. There's also some prohibited examples that they highlight in the regulations. You can't have a mohawk, you can't have a mullet, you can't have cornrows, you can't have dreadlocks, things like that. And lastly, you can have like a part or something etched into your head as long as it doesn't exceed 4 inches long and 1/4 inch in width. Okay, so we hear all these regulations, they tell you what you can do, but what does it actually look like?
What does this mean?
Well, so far we know 2 haircuts that are in regs. We know we got the basic training special, and we got that high and tight that they give you upon graduation.
Oh, no.
So unless you want to walk around looking like that all day, you're gonna want to learn some terms, some terminology, so you can increase the drip. Now, when you're doing a haircut, you can either do it yourself or you can go to the barbershop. I highly recommend you go to the barbershop unless you got a little bit of skills on cutting your hair. Me, myself, I cut my hair myself. Now me, I got a bunch of different clippers, but if I had to recommend one, I would recommend these Wall Seniors. These will get the job done. So me, I have waved hair, so I have to go with the grain. I either use a 1 guard or I use a 2 guard on the hair, depending on what kind of length I want. And then I do a temple fade where I only fade on the temple sides and I fade on the back side as well. And I also put a line on my head or a shape up, however you call it. And this is done with a trimmer. You know, it's something light, you know. Now, when you go to the barbershop, you're gonna hear people say taper, you're gonna hear people say fade. And honestly, these words mean 2 different things, but you're gonna hear a lot of people using them synonymously. So you go to a barbershop, you wanna know the difference between a low, mid, or high. So let's look at some examples. In today's day and age, the low fade is one of the most popular haircuts. And what makes a low fade is that the baldness or the short hair starts at about the top of the ear, and then it gradually works its way up into the hair. Then you have your mid fade. Now the mid fade, the baldness, or the short hair starts at about the middle of your head, and then it gradually works its way up. And then you have your high fade. Now the high fade starts really high at the point of blending, and this is probably one of the most popular fades in the Air Force. And then you have an undercut, which will pretty much just wrap all the hair up at the top, and then they'll cut everything on the sides down to one length. You may see this type of hairstyle with like a man bun, or maybe somebody who has a dreaded look, or you may see it on my son. Now, we're gonna move on to the different styles that you can put on the top of your hair.
You ain't got no style, mother.
So we're gonna start with the quiff. Now this hairstyle is really good. It could be worn in a lot of different ways, but it's gonna require a little bit longer hair, and it's also gonna require some time for you to style it the proper way. Now when you're styling the quiff, you're basically gonna comb the hair forward and then up, so it gives it a lot of volume. Next we have the pompadour. Now this hairstyle looks really similar to a quiff. The only difference is instead of the hair being combed forward, all of the hair is combed backwards, and it's gonna require a lot of styling. So a lot of maintenance goes into this haircut, but it looks really good. Remember, no more than 2.5 inches in bulk. Next, we have the classic comb over. Now this has become really popular in the Air Force lately. Now there's so many different ways you can style this haircut, but one of the most common ways is to put the hard part on one of your sides and then comb the rest of the hair to the other side. Now, if you're looking for something more low maintenance, and this is something you could probably do at home, you can do a buzz cut. Basically, just put a 1 guard on your clipper and just cut everything around your head the same length. Not too much that goes into it, but for some people, this is a really good look. And then you have a crew cut. This is low maintenance as well. It's a really good military haircut, but it's not as military as the high and tight. Then you have a textured French crop. It gives it that nice, unique, textured look. And this haircut is really in style in today's day and age. So now that we know everything about the different hairstyles.
It is time for a trivia.
All right, so what I'm gonna do is with all the information we just covered, I'm gonna look at a couple different haircuts and try to name them. All right, that looks like a mid fade with a curly top. The fade kind of drops in the back. That's what I got. That's a wavy head with a tempo fade, low tempo fade. That is a drop fade, looks like a low drop fade. It's a buzz cut, cool cut, really low. That is a crop cut. See the texture on it, got the little fringe. You got a high top here, it's a high fade as well. That's a pompadour with a mid fade that drops. That's another high top, but it's a textured curly top with a mid fade. That's a mid fade with a curly top. That is a drop fade, a mid drop fade with wavy hair. Oh my God.
Bruh.
If after watching this video, you don't even know all the differences between the military branches, you can watch this video on the screen right now. I made a cool video where I depicted each branch as a car, so it's fun to watch. I recommend you check it out. Like I always say, I hope this video brought value to you. Stay beautiful, stay classy, and until next time, check me out.